What up, YouTube? Ian here with another unboxing of VHS in my collection. The previous videotapes I unboxed here were given to me third hand by my real-life friend C Plasma Guns, who got them used from half-price books. They were all Rumiko Takahashi series, mostly Ranma, 2 Maison Nikoku, and an Urusei Yatsura movie. This time I'm unboxing anime VHS I personally bought. Now, unlike C Plasma Guns tapes, I bought these long ago as new items, way before DVD even ever emerged into the mainstream market. They managed to hold up the test of time after all these years and are more or less still playable. In fact, I do throw these tapes in my capture card setup just to benchmark its performance. And depending on how well that goes, I would continue using said setup to digitize even more rare tapes and archiving them for future viewing. Also, unlike the last tapes, only one of them is a Ranma Nibunoichi volume, and only another one of these tapes is actually a subtitled edition. The first tape we'll look at is the 10th volume of the Ranma Anything Goes martial arts series from Viz Video, also known as the second season of the TV series. The title of the VHS is Tough Cookies, and it is the English dubbed edition. It has an approximate running time of 52 minutes, and it includes 2 episodes. It's a fine line between Pleasure and Pain and SOS, The Wrath of Haposai. Unfortunately, I could not recover the paper sleeve casing for it, so all I could show is the sticker label on the tape. Back when VHS was the standard distribution medium for films and other video, anime and foreign movies in general, there were usually 2 versions of the same tape sold in North America. Original dialogue in its native language with on-screen subtitles in English, the native language being, of course, Japanese, and dubbed in English by a cast of domestic voice actors, based either in Canada and or the untied states of America. Back then, the debates between the preference of one version of dialogue over the other was more of a valid point then than it is now. It did not help that back then, for any given anime volume or movie, the sub version was higher priced than the dub version, further making us automatically perceive that to be the superior one. We, or at least I, really didn't give the English voice cast a chance until DVDs and or when more and more anime started showing on TV. I'm pretty sure today dubbed versions of anime VHS are considered the more rare of the two because of how unpopular they were back then. Although I don't think price matters between the two if buying them used, and if they're available in a newer format, it's probably more beneficial to watch it through that. DVDs nowadays have the capability of having multiple audio tracks for the same video, plus the option of toggling subtitles displayed on screen. So the thing with VHS is an obsolete thing, and the argument between which is better, subbed or dubbed, is more of a moot point. Not to mention, DVDs can even carry more video per disc. Back when VHS was in vogue, each TV volume of an anime tape cost about $20 dubbed or $30 subbed, depending on how much video is in each tape. The Ranma Anything Goes martial arts second season each clocked in about 50 minutes with 2 episodes. And as far as I can tell, this is the 10th volume out of at least 11 tapes. I remember seeing a box set of all the subversions of the Anything Goes martial arts, priced at around $200, which even then it was a bargain over buying each tape individually. Today, $200 is what I could pay for all of the Ranma TV series box sets. And not just the second season either. And I could buy these in new, still factory wrapped condition. Although I still keep these old tapes just because, and having them did motivate me into looking into getting them again and the rest of the series on DVD. Moving on from that whole rant, I did favor subtitles more just because I was jumping on the bandwagon. Despite that, I did end up buying the dubbed version of anime, either because it was ultimately the cheaper version, or out of mere ignorance of not looking at the cover if it read English dubbed, or if it had a pretty logo highlighting that it was the subtitled edition. Next up in this unboxing is Dominion Tank Police Act 2. Where do nude women conceal machine guns? Remember, it's only a cartoon. The Philadelphia Inquirer. Awesome. I actually have fond memories of this anime. In fact, it was the very first anime I have ever remember seeing, in the 3rd grade. That's right, the first anime I ever saw was the title Masamune Shiro, created before Ghost in the Shell, and it manages to be more ecchi than Ranma. And mind you, this was when I was knee-deep in elementary school, only 1 year before becoming influenced by Snoop Doggy Dogg and gangsta rap, and sagging my pants not knowing what that originally meant. At least it's not hentai. Not technically. Anyways, this appeared in the foreign film section of a local video rental store, Video Time as it was called, long before anime even broke off into its own genre. It caught my eye, and that's how I got into anime. I was already in a comic book phase at the time, which surprisingly did not last that long. And as for gaming, I was in between the 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System and the 16-bit Super NES. One particular ecchi thing that struck me about Dominion to this day is the image of one of the Puma sisters. I forgot offhand if it was Anna or Uni exactly, but she was showing her quote-unquote injury with a bandage over her nipple. It made sense in context as she really did hurt herself in the previous action scene of stuff blowing up. There was a lot more fan service and nude scenes than I remember, and buying the DVD of the entire series years later would confirm that. Back then, I didn't know the cat girls were doing a striptease scene to elude the police cornering them. I also didn't know Bwaku's anti-tank weaponry had more of a Freudian design, so to speak. I didn't even have a grasp of what Freudian imagery was back then, or who Sigmund Freud even was. I didn't even know Leona Ozaki's tank Bonaparte was named after the French dictator named Napoleon. But then again, I didn't fully realize that 4 turtles with martial arts abilities were named after famous artists of the Renaissance. The only things that enamored me into this series, and anime as a whole, was the foreign language of Japanese, the weird hair collars, people with weird hair collars speaking Japanese, a sci-fi show set in the future, and watching a show reading subtitles. Just those things alone were shocking enough for an otherwise sheltered yet impressionable school grader. This series was released by the US Manga Corps division of Central Park Media. The only other tape I have, released by the same company, is the second Urusei Yatsura movie, Beautiful Dreamer. As far as I know, I think even for its time, it was more difficult to find a dubbed version of this tape, as the versions I saw at Video Time were subtitled, and even this tape I bought was subtitled. I think I bought this tape from another place, a comic shop called The Land of Nevawas. Mind you, I bought this well during my comic book phase. Speaking of The Land of Nevawas, I think that's also the place I rented a copy of Big Trouble in Nekonran, China, before Viz Video officially released and/or licensed it. That basically meant what I was watching was a non-subtitled Ranma movie, still in its Japanese dialogue, that I inevitably could not understand. The Dominion tape was $30 at the time, so I definitely could not afford to buy all 3 acts of the Dominion series. I did end up getting the DVD years later, as I mentioned, which not only contained Dominion Tank Police in its entirety, but also a dubbed English track. The DVD I bought new was for about $15, sale price. The third tape in this unboxing set is New Dominion Tank Police, Volume 3. Now this just further shows my ignorance in buying VHS back then. 1, this is the dub version, although to be fair, it may have been the only version available. And 2, I didn't even know there was a sequel to Dominion, which this was. I had bought this years after my previous Dominion tape, thinking I was getting Act 3 of the first series. The slightly different distribution company should have clued me in to the new series, Manga Video Entertainment. Just like the first Dominion, the New Dominion series was split up into 3 volumes of tapes, except the first series insisted on calling them acts, like it was a theatrical play or something. Each tape had 2 episodes. While the first Dominion series tape I unboxed had a running time of approximately 40 minutes, the new series tape I have here is approximately 60 minutes. This tape actually gave names to their episodes, at least on the back of the tape. Episode 5 is Conflict City, and 6 is End the Dreaming. The fact I only got 1 tape each for the Dominion and New Dominion Tank Police series is irrelevant. Just like the first series, I did buy the New Dominion DVD years later at a discounted price. In fact, I know I got both of them on the same night shopping at the Suncoast Motion Picture Company. New Dominion, despite being set at around the same time and largely having the same main characters as the first series, from what I understand, do not share the same continuity. Content-wise, it's less risque than its predecessor. Anapuma and Unipuma don't look particularly stripperific, and they aren't teamed with Bwaku this time. I will later learn that despite all of these differences, the English dub cast are the same between both series. I was thinking of getting and reading the manga, but I never really found it in stores, and haven't really came around to finding it online. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more VHS unboxings, DVD unboxings, tech tutorials, and whatever else I feel like uploading to YouTube. Please share and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Feel free to add my profile on Facebook. Peace out, K-Town. Ranma 1/2 by the irrepressible Rumiko Takahashi. Yin and Yang was never so much fun. Dominion Tank Police. More great action, more exciting characters, and yes, more titillating female tunes.